Damn it, Bobby, this just ain't right.
Alrighty, what's good, YouTube? We back with another reaction for your boy Bobby G. This one's gonna be another video of the rise and downfall of an NFL player. This one's gonna be on Josh Rosen. It's a video by She Got Sports. Let's see what he got. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know what to do.
Before Josh Rosen even took a snap at UCLA, he was...
I only really want to watch this one mainly because we drafted this nigga. The Cardinals drafted this nigga first round. And for a little while, I thought he was going to be the future of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not going to lie.
Hailed the chosen one. After his freshman season, many said he could have been the #1 overall pick in the draft if he was eligible. However, what followed was a downfall of epic proportion. After days of research, I think I uncovered the true reason behind Rosen's rapid and catastrophic fall from grace. The truth might surprise you, but I think if we looked closely enough early on, we could have all seen this coming. This is the tragic rise and fall of Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen, the son of 2 national gold medalist ice dancers, was clearly destined to be a football player. I mean, look at how much ice dancing and football have in common. Josh grew up in a wealthy family, which became a polarizing talking point during the pre-draft process, but we're gonna dive deeper into that in a minute. His dad's a spine surgeon, and through his mom's side of the family, he is the great-great-great-grandson of Joseph Warden, the man who founded the prestigious University of Pennsylvania Wharton Business School. And before Rosen was a football star, he was a young tennis...
Bro, this nigga has life on super duper easy difficulty. What the fuck? You know how much money and smarts and opportunities you're automatically born into? Oh, hell no. That's why you gotta start doing background checks on these niggas before you draft them, bro. You gotta know where they come from. This nigga is super ultra Charmin soft.
His phenom. By age 12, he was the #1 ranked player of his age in Southern California and top 50 in the country. The United States Tennis Association was urging him to join their player development program, which would have most likely forced him to be homeschooled. It was at this point Rosen decided he wanted to play football instead. But all those
Bro, this is the nigga we drafted #1 overall, bro. Oh my goodness. Or first round, bro. I don't know, it was like pick number 3.
hours on the court weren't a waste of time. Josh's dazzling footwork and strong shoulder translated from the courts to the gridiron. Much like Drew Brees, another young tennis star turned pro quarterback. Rosen went on to play high school football for one of the best teams in the country, St. John Bosco. The school has had hundreds of players go D1 in just the past decade. It's also produced over 25 4- and 5-star recruits since just 2015. While Rosen was still the quarterback of the school's JV team, he received his first college offer. And by his senior season, he was a 5-star recruit and the #1 ranked quarterback in the class of 2015. So yes, that means Josh Rosen was ranked ahead of players like Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Kyler Murray, who were also in the class of 2015.
Oh my good God almighty, ahead of Kyler Murray? Lamar Jackson? My God.
One of the first possible red flags we saw with Rosen.
This is honestly just like a pure testament to like niggas who rave, coaches who rave over players who are just pure size.
Happened during the recruiting process. Stanford was his dream school. He had the football skills and the grades to get in. But after attending the school's camp the summer before his junior year, he never received an offer. Why? Multiple reports say it was his demeanor. He was perceived to be, quote, overbearing. Stanford's head coach said they didn't elect to take a quarterback in Rosen's class because of roster numbers, which is, interesting, to say the least. Despite not receiving an offer from Stanford, the 5-star recruit had many other schools' offers to choose from, including Alabama, Michigan, Texas, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. In the end, Rosen decided to stay in his SoCal hometown and chose UCLA. Before Rosen's freshman season even started at UCLA, he was dubbed the Chosen One and given the nickname Chosen Rosen. Josh became the first Bruins quarterback to ever start a season opener as a true freshman. And during that first game, his hype and allure grew even more. He went 28 of 35 for 351 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interception in the team's 34-16 win versus Virginia. Some even declared him the future #1 overall pick, including his head coach, Jim Mora, who said Rosen would have been the first.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that nigga was balling out at UCLA.
first quarterback selected in the 2016 draft if he was eligible, just months after the quarterback completed his first college season. Rosen missed most of his sophomore year after suffering a season-ending shoulder injury, but he bounced back his junior year, having career-high numbers in all statistical categories. With 1 year of college eligibility left, Rosen declared for the NFL draft. This is when all the questions—
Bro, they forgot to mention that one game that he had where he came back. He had like a miraculous comeback. That shit was crazy.
Started to surface about Josh and his personality. Rosen was in contention to be the #1 overall pick, and many had him ranked as the best QB in the class. But the big concern for many teams was Rosen's character. Was he truly this cocky, arrogant know-it-all? One scout said, quote, his personality absolutely could be a problem for some teams. Another said, he's just a mess off the field. He needs to grow up, but his talent is off the charts. Josh Rosen had been outspoken throughout his college career, to say the least. The first thing that rubbed some people the wrong way happened during his freshman year, and that was having an inflatable hot tub in his dorm. Honestly, I don't see why that was such a big deal or such a red flag. I mean, he's a college kid. That seems like such a college kid thing to do.
What's wrong with the inflatable hot tub? What if he wants to just come back after a long day of practice and just chill in the hot tub? They hating for that. They hating for that.
But the summer before his sophomore season, in an interview with SI, he said, quote, I have a superiority complex I need to get rid of. So when I was doing research for this video and I found that quote, I saved the link to the article because I was doing research pretty late at night after midnight, and I wanted to make sure I was reading it right. And I came back in the morning and the quote was still the same, and I was like, oh my gosh. Why is he saying this in an interview? He knows scouts are going to be reading this. He knows he's going to declare for the draft probably next season. Why are you saying you have a superiority complex that you need to get rid of? Why would you admit that? Even if you had it, like that's just like, what? Why would you say that? Another Bleacher Report profile that
yeah, that is some shit you should probably keep to yourself, bro. What the fuck? Nigga snitched himself out.
Came out before his sophomore year, outlined how the UCLA quarterback coach allowed Josh to start each quarterback meeting with a 2-minute Josh period, where Rosen could discuss anything on his mind before the group dove strictly into football and avoided, quote, Josh tangents.
Bro, that is all-time ultimate meat riding. What the Josh period? Get this nigga his own class time? What type of meat stick riding shit is this?
What? Like, what does this mean? Did you really need to have a period before the meeting started so you could just say whatever you needed so you wouldn't interrupt the quarter?
Bro, do you understand how unlikable that makes you? I wouldn't even want people to put that type of shit on me, bro. That just makes you so unlikable.
Quarterback meeting? Like, imagine you're a backup quarterback and you're ready to dive into the film and learn because you eventually want to be the starting quarterback. But before you can do the learning, you have to listen to Josh Rosen go on a little tangent about, you know, the socioeconomic state of the world or whatever is on his mind. And like, he really needed to do that so he wouldn't interrupt the quarterback meeting with random discourse about whatever. If I was a quarterback in that room, I'd be like, bro, what? Can we just do the work? Can we just get better as football players in this football meeting? At the start of his sophomore season, Rosen said college football was, quote, like indentured servitude, end quote. Josh said he wanted to speak out because he had financial security outside.
Bro, the way this nigga Josh talks, indentured servitude? What the fuck does that even mean, bro?
End quote. Josh,
yeah, you could definitely tell this nigga grew up a tennis player.
Said he wanted to speak out because he had financial security outside of football, but he knew there was others that didn't and couldn't speak up because of that. He went on to say college football shouldn't be considered an amateur sport unless they hired amateur coaches, didn't have TV deals, and didn't sell tickets to their games. So yes, that rubbed some people the wrong way, but you could see deep down that, you know, he's trying to speak out for others. You know, he's like, yeah, I can risk it for others. Like, I feel like these guys should be getting some compensation here. And you're like, oh, that's kind of nice, right? But in that same interview, literally the same interview, he goes on to say, quote, I want to ultimately own the world, end quote. What does that even mean, Josh? What does that mean?
Bro, why did we fucking draft this nigga, bro? Why did we waste our draft pick on this nigga? I want to own the world, bro. I don't know, man. Sometimes maybe people just really don't fucking think.
You want to own the world. You cannot own the world. I mean,
that's some shit like Kanye would say, bro. What?
At least last time I checked, like, you can't buy the earth. Like, that's just like, ugh. You hear that and you're like, okay. His head coach at UCLA, Jim Mora, would ask Josh, do you want to be Johnny Manziel or do you want to be Tom Brady? But that didn't stop Josh from having some hot takes on CTE. Josh said, quote, the whole CTE thing is completely overblown. The NFL should be more worried about pensions than CTE. If you have CTE by the time you're 60, but you're a millionaire up to that point, awesome. But if you're medically retired from football because of concussions in college and never saw a cent of anything, and all you got was a scholarship and you're supposed to be academically sound, but you have headaches for the rest of your life that affect your work, that's effed up. So I 100% get the point he's trying to make, which is a true point. Like, that's really messed up if, you know, you suffer all these head injuries and then you don't see any money from football, right? Like that's messed up. Like, you know, you play college football at this high level, you get a ton of head injuries and you can't go pro and you make no money from it.
Makes sense.
But he didn't have to go and say, oh, it's overblown in the NFL. Like, that's just going to be taken out of context. And I feel like he should know that and posted everywhere online as just Josh Rosen said CTE is overblown. He could have made his point.
This nigga literally killed his own career. Like, that is fucking crazy.
Without saying that it's overblown in the NFL and that if you're a millionaire at 60, it's like, oh, okay. Like, that just comes off wrong. During the pre-draft process, Jim Mora, Josh's head coach, was intentionally or unintentionally waving some red flags about him. Mora said in an interview leading up to the draft that Rosen needs to be challenged intellectually so he doesn't get bored. He said Josh had a lot of interest in life, but if you could hold his concentration level and focus only on football for a few years, he would be great. He also said he believed Darnold would be a better fit going to the Browns #1 overall. At just around the same time, during the pre-draft media frenzy, Rosen said he was coming for Tom Brady's Super Bowl record, was the best QB in the class by far, and planned on getting picked pretty early. Rosen ended up being the 4th quarterback drafted in the 2018 NFL draft, going 10th overall to the Cardinals, who traded up to draft him. In his press conference minutes after being drafted, he said, quote, I was pissed off I fell. I was really angry teams were passing on me. He went on to say,
there were 9 mistakes made ahead of me, and I will make sure over the next decade.
This nigga didn't even fucking say it right, bro. This nigga over here stumbling and fumbling, bro. He just barely got drafted.
Or so that they will know that they made a mistake.
Let's take a look at the 9 mistakes made ahead of him. Ah, would you look at that? 6 of the 9 are Pro Bowlers. And the
nigga, we pass up on Josh Allen for this? Oh my gosh,
other
bro.
3, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and Mike McGlinchey, have all had better careers than Rosen, without a doubt. To be fair though, the team waiting in Arizona was far from an ideal landing spot for a rookie quarterback. For starters, they had literally the worst offensive line in the NFL, and it's hard to throw a ball when you don't have a second to stand there and get it out. Steve Wilkes was also entering his first year as head coach of the team. He was a defensive head.
His first and his fucking last. These niggas did not waste no time with this nigga Steve Wilkes, bro. And now he's a successful coach with the 49ers. Look at that. These niggas, these Arizona niggas be fumbling, bro. The Cardinals, the Suns, bro. What the fuck's going on? Can we get a successful franchise, please?
Head coach, which statistically is a worse head coach for a rookie quarterback than an offensive one. Looking at these numbers from every quarterback drafted from 2011 to 2020, we can see rookie QBs under offensive head coaches had a higher completion percentage, averaged more yards per attempt, and saw their passes turn into touchdowns more often and interceptions less often than those under defensive head coaches. Coming out of training camp, Rosen was named the team's backup, Sam Bradford the starter. But in the 4th quarter of a Week 3 game versus the Bears,
bro, these were some very dark times for an Arizona Cardinal fan, bro. Sam Bradford starting QB, Josh Rosen backup. Like, imagine that, bro. Imagine that. I don't even think we sold out I don't even think a game was sold out that season, that whole season. That is sad.
Sam Bradford got hit by Khalil Mack and fumbled for the second time that day. Then with just over 4 minutes left, down 2, the Cardinals said, "Hey rookie, why don't you pop in there and give this thing a whirl?" Versus the legit best defense in the league right now, with our offensive line that is the worst in the league right now. I mean, this is why you sit and let a rookie quarterback learn, right? So they can make their NFL debut in a prime, in an optimal situation like this. Also, this is the year the Bears went 12-4 and had the second most sacks in the league, by the way. So
yeah, bro, I mean, this is like some Madden shit. This is like some road to glory type shit right here, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Situation like this. Also, this is the year the Bears went 12-4 and had the second most sacks in the league, by the way. So Josh did bring the team into Bears territory, but then on 4th down, he threw an interception. After this game, Rosen was named the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. His best game probably came in week 8 versus the 49ers when he passed for 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and completed 23 of his 40 passes. He showed how accurate he could be when actually given more than a singular second in the pocket. But besides that, most of his games were pretty ugly. In his first NFL start versus Atlanta, he only completed 13 passes for 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. That means he was averaging a little over 3 completions per quarter. Oof. In a game versus Green Bay that the Cardinals actually won, he completed 11 of his 26 passes for 149 yards, no touchdowns, and no interceptions. I mean, he wasn't even averaging 3 completions per quarter in that one. Oof again. And listen to this.
These were some very dark times as an Arizona Cardinal fan. Just every Sunday turning on the TV, seeing all these other teams, and then seeing us. Like, what the fuck are we doing, bruh?
Rosen didn't.
That's why, bro, honestly, I sometimes complain with Kyler Murray, but I can't be too mad, bro, because I think of times like this, I'm like, hey, I gotta be grateful.
And listen to this. Rosen didn't throw his first touchdown pass till his seventh NFL game. Rosen finished his rookie season with 2,278 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. Amongst rookie QBs, he surprisingly didn't rank the worst in every category. Mayfield, Darnold, and Rosen all started 13 games in their rookie season. Josh Allen started 11, and Lamar didn't start enough to have his numbers compared. But as we can see here, Rosen had the 3rd worst completion percentage among the 4 eligible rookie quarterbacks.
Bro, we passed up on Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Lamar fucking Jackson, my nigga.
With only Josh Allen having a worse completion percentage than him. Him and Sam Darnold had the same exact interception percentage. Josh Allen's interception percentage was the only one worse. And then where we see the real discrepancy here between Josh Rosen and the other rookie quarterbacks was touchdown percentage. Josh Rosen had a significantly worse touchdown percentage than all the other rookie quarterbacks. The Cardinals were so bad that season, they finished with a record of 3-13 and were last in the league in total offense with only 3,865 yards, which was over 700 yards behind the 31st ranked offense in the league, the Dolphins. Which, just keep that in the back of your head right now. Keep that sticky note in the back of your head. So it's no surprise the Cardinals ended up with the #1 overall pick in the 2019 draft. Head coach Steve Wilkes was fired after 1 year, and this guy who had apparently shook hands with this young, upcoming, hot head coach that everyone was looking to find a duplicate of, you know, he shook hands with him. He shook hands with Sean McVay, so probably some of that Sean McVay power seeped into his hands, and he had that young offensive head coach guru stuff in him, just like McVay. And his name was Cliff Kingsbury. So the Cardinals were like, oh my gosh, you kind of look like Sean McVay, and you might have brushed shoulders with him once. Boom, you're hired. And remember, this was right as McVay was taking the Rams to the Super Bowl in 2019. So this is great news for Rosen, right? A young, offensive-minded head coach that can definitely help a second-year quarterback, right? Well, there was this guy named Kyler Murray who had just won the Heisman and would definitely excel in Cliff Kingsbury air raid offense that he ran at Texas Tech. But the new head coach didn't want to hear that. He said, quote, Josh is our guy. And you know, the social media team wanted to double down on that too and make a really fun graphic. And just days before the draft in April, Kingsbury gushed about the way Rosen played at minicamp. He couldn't be more impressed with him and how quickly he picked up the new system. We all know what ended up happening, but when did Josh realize he was getting replaced by Murray? According to him, legit 1 minute before the Cardinals drafted Murray, Kingsbury called him and said, quote, hey, so we're about to draft Kyler. I don't really know what happens now. Talk about one of the most awkward phone calls. Rosen was then traded to Miami for a late 2nd-round pick and a future 5th.
Dude, that is so fucking awkward, bro. Imagine receiving that phone call like, hey, I think we're just gonna go Kyler Murray, bro. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that means, but have a good rest of your life. Like, what the fuck? I don't blame that nigga, bro, because that nigga Josh Rosen was ass, but that is just so, that's such an uncomfortable conversation.
What was even more special about this trade, though, is Rosen wasn't just going to Miami to play quarterback. He was also picking up a new position, the tank commander. Rosen was such a lucky guy. He got to go from the worst offensive line in 2018 to the new worst offensive line in 2019. And guess what? He had a first-year defensive head coach yet again. Woohoo, what a lucky guy. I mean, this Dolphins team was a disaster. The fan base was rooting for losses because they wanted Tua. This was the season that Brian Flores alleged the Dolphins owner said he would pay him $100,000 for every loss. Ryan Fitzpatrick started the first 2 games of the season for Miami, not Rosen. The first game of the season, they lost 59-10 versus the Ravens. Then the second one...
Bro, that's literally a score you see in Madden. That's fucking crazy. Nah, that's not as bad as last year with the Broncos, though. Oh my god.
They lost 43-0 versus the Patriots. In week 3, Rosen got the start.
Bro, wasn't that game with the Broncos with the Dolphins, too? That shit was, oh man.
Things didn't go much better. The team lost 31-6 versus the Cowboys. Rosen completed 18 of 39 passes for 200 yards, no tutties, and no turnovers. The next game was statistically better for Rosen. He completed 17 of 24 passes for 180 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The team still lost by 20 though. But things took an even worse turn in Rosen's third start with the Dolphins.
2,900.
Another team that was also vying for the #1 overall pick. A team that was letting opponents score an average of 30 points per game so far that season. Through 3 quarters, Rosen could only put together 85 passing yards and 2 interceptions while getting sacked 5 times. So Flores benched him to start the 4th quarter with the score being 17-3. Fitzpatrick nearly rallied the team to a victory, but instead of going for the extra point to tie it at 17 with 6 seconds left in the game, the Dolphins went for 2 to win it and they couldn't convert. That was the last day Rosen ever started an NFL game. October 13th, 2019, just about 18 months after being selected in the top 10 of the draft. Of course, the Dolphins went on to draft Tua in the 2020 draft, and before the start of the season, Miami released the 23-year-old Rosen after not being able to find a trade partner. A few days later, he signed with the Buccaneers as part of their practice squad. Then in December of that year, the 49ers signed him after injuries to Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins. With all the injuries at the quarterback spot there, Josh was able to be the backup quarterback. He never saw the field, but he did stand on the sideline in his pads and jersey.
Hey, being the backup quarterback probably has to be, I don't know what the best job is in the NFL, but the second best probably has to be an NFL backup quarterback, bro.
In case the quarterback did get injured. After the season concluded,
You get to literally ride for free, but they need you though. Like, that's the thing, your spot is low-key secured.
the 49ers signed him to a 1-year extension to hopefully be their backup or third-string quarterback. Of course, just like any other offseason for Josh Rosen, the team he was on drafted a rookie quarterback in the 1st round. This time, it was Trey Lance. So now he was fighting for a roster spot with Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and Nate Sudfeld. Rosen couldn't beat out Sudfeld for the 3rd quarterback spot and was cut during training camp. But another opportunity arose for Rosen right after being cut by the 49ers. The Falcons' backup quarterback, A.J. McCarron, suffered a season-ending injury before the regular season even started, so Atlanta needed a backup. Rosen signed with the team at the end of August, right before the start of the 2021 season. He did get to see the field at the end of games in relief of Matt Ryan, but it really wasn't pretty while he was out there. After his 1 year as a backup on the Falcons, the Browns signed him in the summer of 2022, but that didn't last long. He was moved to the practice squad before the start of the season and then released on October 10th. 2 months later in December, the Vikings then signed him to their practice squad. His contract then expired at the end of last season, and he is currently a free agent. So yeah, in his 5-year NFL career, Josh Rosen has been on 7 different teams. Rosen's play in the NFL clearly wasn't the same as his play in college. But what about his attitude? The thing many teams question. Did that change during his time in the NFL? Apparently, not so much. Reporter Dan Dugan spoke with an anonymous player on the Cardinals who had this to say about Josh after his rookie season there. The player said Josh was a good teammate, but had a F it attitude attitude after mistakes, and the player said that could rub coaches the wrong way. The player also said Josh was too smart for his own good, a common thing we've heard people say about Rosen. He also said Rosen would ask why a lot when given a read to make on offense, and he said this could possibly annoy coaches if they have a system in place. They don't want to always be asked, why is this the read? Why are we doing it this way? Yada, yada, yada. I think Rosen's NFL career failed due to a combination of things. One, being in a terrible situation his first 2 years in the league. Two, his arm.
Bro, honestly, yeah, I can see how like being too smart for yourself can fuck you up in the NFL. Overthinking can throw you off for your game so much, it's not even funny.
Why are we doing it this way? Yada, yada, yada. I think Rosen's NFL career failed due to a combination of things. One, being in a terrible situation his first 2 years in the league. Two, his arm talent not really being strong enough to transfer to the NFL level. His arm was never above average in strength. His long windup time when throwing also didn't help with the speed of the NFL game. And three, maybe most importantly, his attitude. Listen, I'm not saying Josh is some bad guy, but like his coach said, he has other interests outside of football that he's passionate about. So Josh is not hyper obsessed with the game like we see a lot of the greats across all sports are. You know, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, they are all.
Alright, he doesn't need to be that hyper focused, but I see what she's saying though. This nigga definitely has other interests outside of football, so he not even gonna put a solid enough effort to be a average quarterback in the NFL. He just need to go do his own thing somewhere else.
Hyper obsessed with their game, and that's their life, really. I also feel like his personality / attitude didn't mesh the best with coaches, and that could have definitely affected his development if he didn't have a great relationship with any of his coaches. Then how is he gonna learn? If you like this video, I think you'll also enjoy this other video I made right up here about Blake Bortles, his rise, being so close to the Super Bowl, then being cut, basically.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that they did that nigga dirty as fuck, where he was literally one game away from the fucking Super Bowl. What happens if Blake Bortles wins the Super Bowl that season? What happens if they beat the Patriots and they go on to win the Super Bowl? Is Blake Bortles still the quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars? I don't know. But let me know down below what you guys thought of this video and this trash ass nigga Josh Rosen. I'm just playing. He was just really bad at football, bro. He's probably really good at other stuff. Just stay off the football field. Stay away from my Cardinals. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Peace.